Okay, we're ready to roll.
You hear us, Peggy? Okay. All right, the meeting will come to order. The first. Thought I heard something.
Yeah, there's some feedback.
Oh, okay. The first order of business is permit number 22-402. Peter Cousineau, it's a subdivision requesting final plat review for a 2-lot subdivision. And it's Burpee Road parcel 40 number 480 on Burpee Road, parcel number 060-160.3. And wow, what is going on
I
there?
don't know, somebody's got some background noise.
Cats or
Anybody know what how that's burning through? From whom?
And Tom's working on it. There he goes. He's got us.
All right, so Kevin LaRose is here in place of Ron. So Kevin, you want to walk us through the subdivision? Yes, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the evidence you shall give before this development review board shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Swear. Thank you. So this was a minor. So we had a sketch plan review some time ago, might have been back in December, not sure. There been any changes, Kevin, from what we discussed at the sketch plan?
No, I think the only thing Ron wanted to point out, he believed that when he came in at that time was that Peter anticipated having a right of way over the property of Hill, which lies just to the north of where his driveway is now.
Yeah.
And for various reasons, they are not going to pursue that. So now his right of way will be just over his own property onto the lot with a home.
All right, and that's shown on the November 3, 2022 plat.
Maybe you did see that then. Okay.
Well, I see a 50-foot right of way.
Yeah, it was up here.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
now it's
Strictly on Peter.
It goes over the 5.1 acre, proposed 5.1 acre lot.
Goes
no.
to the 5 point, yeah.
Right, and
It's
so it goes over
his remaining
his
lands.
remaining, it's a
Yeah.
kind of a funky shape, it's kind of a dog leg.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
where that house sits relative to his lines. and
right,
the
right,
lines.
so it goes just to the north of the barn
Mm-hmm.
and just to the south of the hill parcel.
Yes,
50-foot right away, so that's gonna be right away in favor of the 5.1 acres lot that we'd be creating by this subdivision. Right,
yes.
all right, and
And that was, he thought maybe the only change, otherwise it's exactly as it was.
right, so we've got 5.1 acres, we're in the R5 zone, right, Chris?
That is correct.
All right, and what's the size of the remaining Cousineau land?
It's not surveyed, but based on the grand list, so we were saying it's about 12.3 acres.
Okay,
The original parcel was 17.4 per the map.
There it is, so 12. My math is right.
all right, and anticipating and so there's an existing house on this 5.1 acre lot, right?
Yes, yeah. And he
Okay,
wants to get the home with as little as acreage as possible,
yeah,
just preparing his estate.
and what's on the remaining?
Nothing, it's
parcel? Open
used
land?
for, open, whether it's for hills, use it, and I think grazing of, animals.
Yeah,
Talking with Peter, what his hopes are is that across the street is his own personal residence. He has land across the street.
Mhm.
And the barn will go with that. And whoever buys it, he's hoping either has horses or alpacas or something and may want to utilize the barn as farmland.
And
That's
it's
why.
just too much for his wife.
Yep.
yeah, okay. All right, so we've got the required lot size, we've got a 50-foot right of way that's gonna be deeded as part of any conveyance of the 5.1 acres. It's gonna have the benefit of that right of way. Does anybody on the board have any questions? Brenda's here.
Yep. Stop sharing.
Hi, Brenda.
Just so we can see everyone again for a minute.
Does anybody have any questions for Kevin? We good? Looks pretty straightforward, meets the requirements for subdivision under 937. We're gonna have on-site the house has on-site septic and water, right?
Yeah, the permit is actually being reviewed now. I expect the permit to be issued probably on the end of this week, next week from the state.
Who's using the existing septic? Sunset?
Yeah, but because of the subdivision, you have to have the replacement site set aside.
So is that well on it, the house on its own well?
No, the water in that area is a little convoluted. It's it actually supplied by a well that's over here south of Peter's home, which also supplies his house.
On the east side
barn
of
and this-
Burpee Road?
Yeah,
So there's a water line that goes under the road?
yeah. I-
Okay.
So what is the well that's to south of the house?
Proposed,
Oh, that's, yeah, that's the old map. Yeah, it's no longer shown. It was,
It's been abandoned.
yeah. Yeah, you probably see that too. So
Yeah.
I can leave this one with you too if you want.
Yeah,
If it
yeah.
doesn't show it.
this is gonna be the Mylar.
Yes, well, minus my red marks, I just leave on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you some more of my 17s, but
Yeah.
yeah, you can see that well is no longer there.
Right, okay, so the house Peggy on the subdivided lot is served by a water line from a well that's on the Kuzno property on the east side of Burpee Road. But the house on the 5.1 acre lot has its own on-site septic, that's right, so.
Yeah, the septic is located about right here and his backup site's located about right here.
All right, so the backup site is also on the 5.1 acre lot. And the state's review of the wastewater permit because the subdivision is pending, right?
Correct.
All right. Anybody have any other questions for Kevin?
Bunch of negatives on moment.
Okay. So we're gonna, this is gonna be the plat, so, or the Mylar, right?
Yeah.
When the time comes.
Do you need a new 11 by 17?
Okay, all right, I'll move that I'll move that we approve the proposed subdivision as set forth on the plat dated November 3rd, 2022, prepared by Ron LaRose.
Second.
Okay, Ted seconds. Any debate one way or the other from any of the board?
Just a question.
Sure.
So that map there'll be an updated map that's on file that updated past the one that was sent to us.
Yeah, that well easement is no longer shown. And
Right away didn't change.
the right of way is the same. Yeah, I think that's
The well easement's the only thing that disappeared.
right. Yeah, so minor change, what's before us here has just that one deletion from what you got previously. There was a proposed 10-foot wide water line easement on the retained land. And that's no longer part of the application because the water for the house on the subdivided lot comes from across the road from on the applicant, well, on the applicant's other retained land.
So the well that I just highlighted on the screen is the one that it's been abandoned and it has been removed from the copy that we were provided.
I just want to make sure that the map that's on file matches what we approved, that's all.
Yep. Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve the subdivision, raise your hand or otherwise signal. So we've got John, Tom, Brenda, Josh, me, Ted. So unanimous.
Yep.
All right. So we'll get a decision out pretty quick. And
You,
And-
Hand scratch on us, I'll send another one.
Yeah, and then I'll, have to,
I don't,
now I'll have to sign the Mylar
yeah,
when the time comes.
we'll probably do that later this week, I'm guessing when Ron's back in.
Yeah, when I get it, I'll shoot you an email that it's in.
Yeah, okay,
If you're not expecting anything else to be added to it, taken from it, I'll do that. Okay,
all right,
wonderful.
thanks,
sir.
Kevin.
Thanks for the time.
Yep. All right, next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from December 13, 2022. And what were we doing? We had the Thomas sketch plan review. And that, and
Minutes.
yeah, that was it. Oh, we still are deferred on April 20.
So I was just looking,
Well-
I'm trying to pull those up, see if I can, who was here. Saw that as well. You have a whole board, you must have close to a quorum here. You had Tom, Brenda, John, and Josh were the four that were here for that particular hearing.
What one?
Uh,
April or?
April 12th.
All right, well,
20. You want to deal with that tonight too? We can add.
yeah,
that.
we can, but since people, we know people have the December 13 minutes in front of them.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's focus on December 13 first before we decide whether we can handle April 12. Everybody take a look at that and see if there's any changes.
Okay.
I didn't get a copy of those, but would it be in my email, I think, perhaps?
They should have been from 2 weeks ago when I sent out the packet on the original meeting.
Chris, can you scroll down a little bit further?
Absolutely, sir. Is that far enough for now?
Yeah,
Call her when you want to move again.
I'm ready for another one. And then one more.
Yep. Oops.
Actually a basketball.
And that would
Cool.
be the end.
I'm good.
All right, does anybody have any corrections, additions, deletions for the December 13, 2022 minutes? All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the people who can vote on that are me, Ted, Brenda, John, and Josh. So I'll move that we approve the December 13, 2022 minutes.
Second.
All right, Josh, second from Josh. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Brenda says yes, so unanimous of the 5 of us. All right, so you can see from those December 13 minutes that we attempted to approve the April 12, 2022 minutes. So we're coming up on a year, maybe approaching something of a record for delayed approvals. So what can you do for us? All right, so
What's that?
that was Brenda, Tom, John, and Josh. So Ted and I were not there, so we can't vote on this one. So if you folks can read as Chris scrolls down and let us know if you have any changes.
I remember this meeting.
Josh, you should remember this one.
Yeah, yeah, I do. Yep.
Okay. Do any of the,
I-
one of the
I'm
four
good
of you want to
reading it.
motion?
So I guess I'll lead the motion to approve the meeting minutes. Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay.
All right, any comments one way or the other? Questions? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of approving the April 12, 2022 minutes as written, raise your hand. So Brenda, Josh, Tom, and John. So that's the 4 votes we need.
Yay. We're caught up on minutes.
Yay. That's the first time we've been able to say that in a hell of a long time.
So, just for the future, now that we're done with everything else, the only thing I have is I have a application for a conditional use coming up for down the Livingston property. I just got this, information from them earlier this week.
David or Stan?
David, for down at Livingston Farm, they want to build a shop next to their structures that are down there. They already have one existing building. They just got Act 250 approval.
Okay,
So, and the tentative date will be a month from today.
okay.
So just giving you a heads up that that's out on your radar, and I have nothing for your next what would be your next scheduled meeting time.
Okay,
That's all I got.
all right,
Cool.
all
Kevin?
right. Yes,
Kevin?
sir, ma'am.
I have
Yeah.
a question. We don't seem to have anything on short-term rentals. Should we ask the planning commission to work out some sort of regulations for it?
I think the board is talking about it some. I don't know if they've charged the PC yet. Some towns have it, some towns don't. I don't know how big of a, the ski towns, it's a real big issue, and some of the
Yeah.
cities where residential properties have been bought up for use as Airbnbs, but
But we have all sorts of other short-term rentals. For example, we have regulations on what makes a hotel or a boarding house. We probably should have something on this as well. We voted once, if you remember, that somebody wanted a B&B in there. Well,
yeah, we approved one out
Airbnb.
of Heffernan's.
Well, and it was because they were living in the same house, and we said that was fine. But I think
Yeah.
it really would be nice if since we do, to go with our other short-term regulations, have something. Because, you really don't want a party house on the park or on North Street or something.
John, correct me if I'm wrong, that has been part of the discussion in your planning commission vision that they want to address it at a minimum in the village, if not townwide.
Yeah, the
Is that
planning
correct?
commission, sorry, the planning commission is considering at the moment regulations on accessory dwelling units, ADUs, basically garage apartments, mother-in-law suites, that sort of thing. And unfortunately, the state looks like it's about to pass rules that will prevent us, the town of Bristol, from really regulating ADUs hardly at all, just as a matter of height and setbacks. But in any other way, probably not, unless we regulate all of our single-family housing more strictly, which I don't think we need to do at the moment in Bristol. But yeah, so that's bubbling through the state house.
What about short-term rental though, John?
Yeah,
Looking at that?
The language that's under consideration, Montpelier, if I
No,
recall, I don't have it right in front of me, but if I recall, it says it allows towns to regulate something like an Airbnb use.
No, that's true.
If they can pass bylaws to do so.
Yeah, and
Well,
I'm just,
it's
just
it's broader
suggesting
than
it
that,
Yeah.
Brenda. The
I'm
way
I'm
that,
gonna-
the way,
I'm gonna interrupt. I have to jump. I'm sorry, folks.
That's fine,
we'll
Josh.
see you next-
Thank you for attending.
so Brenda, the way it is under state law is that it's the towns have the authority to regulate short-term rentals. The state provides definitions under rooms and meals tax and things like that. You can do it under zoning bylaws, but or the town can also just do it as an ordinance, which is a much quicker adoption process and easier. So I don't know what the Bristol Select Board is doing, if anything, and it doesn't sound like the PC is as an active investigation into short-term rentals, but it doesn't have to go through zoning, and a simple ordinance will take care of it as well. Maybe not so simple, I shouldn't say it that way, but
These-
most of the ordinances require a registration and a fee, payment of a fee, and then whenever you rent, it turns into a public building, whether it's a short-term rental or not. So it's one way to make
Fire marshal.
this state people get their public building permit, but frankly, the state's pretty well. Department of Fire Safety is pretty well overwhelmed, and they don't do a heck of a lot, but they, in order to get a short-term rental, they'd have to produce a public building permit, and the state fire marshal would have done some sort of regulation to make sure that they don't have too many bedrooms and that sort of thing based on fire standards. So that's how it gets. So there are two ways to get at it, and I don't know what the town has decided to do, if anything.
Right, because the other option, which is option 3, which is do nothing. And then it is a rental, whether it's for a 1 day, 1 month, 1 year, lifetime.
Yeah.
The town treats a rental as a rental.
Yep.
And that's currently what we do. The planning commission is working on housing in general in the village area specifically right now. And I thought for some reason, Adam Luigi, who's their consultant, had mentioned touching on that at some point. So we may look at it, we may not. So keep you posted.
Okay, good.
But the new language in Montpelier, if it passes, and it may be in the statutes already, will definitely allow towns to regulate that sort of thing, Brenda, if they want to.
It's already there.
Yeah.
It started off as just the only mechanism was through zoning. But then it was broadened 2 or 3 years ago to also allow, it was a specific grant of regulatory authority to select boards.
So what do you think? We should just wait and see if anything happens?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, if anybody can ask the PC to say, geez, regulate this. It's probably more easily done as an ordinance, but I suppose, but if you wanted to make some distinctions of what you could do in what zones,
Right.
in what districts, you'd want to go through zoning. But if you weren't making those distinctions, say within the village, outside the village, then ordinances quicker and easier, because as you probably are aware, the process of adopting a bylaw is pretty involved, starting with meetings with the PC and then meetings with the select board and then ultimately a town vote. So and with an ordinance, you just do it through the public meeting at the select board. And so it's much faster. And they can always have input from the PC first if they want it, if the select board charges them to do that. We good?
Okay, thanks. I just wondered.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So a lot of towns are struggling with it. I don't know how big an issue it is in Bristol, but I know it's a big issue in it was in Burlington and in this various ski towns. Like Killington and Stowe, those places. All right, I guess we're ready to adjourn.
So
See you,
moved.
everyone. Have a good night.
Take care.
Bye.